So here we are in Eagle Marsh, and the fence that you can see down here in front of you goes down about 2 feet into the ground. It's a black silt fence with these posts that you can see run in this direction. Before they curve around that way. And part of this was put up by the construction company late last year in late 2014 in order to be able to prevent snakes or turtles, some of which are endangered here at the marsh, from making it into what is going to become in the spring the construction area. They expect to have all this done by September of 2015, and the project will cost about $1.9 million. So this should give you a better idea of what the berm looks like up close. As you can see, there's not really a whole lot to the existing structure. It's anywhere from 6 to 8 feet, and it's actually just a mound of dirt. And initially this was built by the farmer that owned the land in order to be able to just prevent soil erosion, because the Grand McCullough ditch is just on the other side of this. So eventually, when the construction crews are finished, what they're going to do is in this open space right beside where the existing ditch is, this is where they're going to build the new one, and it's going to stretch between here and what you can see is that black sort of line in the distance, which is where that silt fence is located. And then when they're done with that, the berm that exists here is actually just going to be plowed over top of it, and then that will end up being the first line of defense. Now let's go take a look at the ditch. So this is the Grand McCullough ditch, and it's this ditch which runs further into Eagle Marsh this way before it turns right and runs the length of the 716-acre preserve that they have here in Fort Wayne. And this is where they're going to be building the berm, just recited on our left here. You can see that there's not really much to the ditch right now. This is what has water pass through. This water here is connected to the Mississippi River basin. But the fear is that flooding through to the St. Mary's River, which is just over in this direction where we came from, that is what leads to Junk Ditch. Which is what ends up draining into the St. Mary's, which heads on over to the Maumee River, which then makes its way to Lake Erie. The existing Asian carp barrier is further into the park, which is closed off and pretty cold at this point. And here is the water treatment plant, which is just another urban pressure that they're having to deal with here at the nature preserve. In 2010, when the Army Corps came and did a survey of this space, what they determined is that the marsh you can see behind me here was going to have flooding coming in from the St. Mary's. It was which could be able to conceivably pick up any Asian carp that had made their way into Eagle Marsh. And the process wouldn't happen right away. The flooding might be able to come in, from the Little River, which connects to the Wabash, which makes its way to the Mississippi. They could come in during an extreme flooding event, and then stay here in the marsh. And then when there's a flooding event from the other side, on the Great Lakes side, from the St. Mary's River, that it might be able to pick up those carp that were here in the marsh and then take them over to the Maumee River, which is why the Army Corps decided that this is now the second priority behind only Chicago in the effort to keep Asian carp out of the Great Lakes.